Rappers who are surprisingly poor.
Tucci shouted out some of his closest allies, revealing that Jay-Z had actually helped him out during a major time of need.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. You might think that breaking into the rap industry will ensure that you're rich forever, but in truth, it just means that if you're not careful, you're going to have a lot to lose. Join me as I show you some of them. You don't want to miss out on this. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to King Trending. Number 10, Method Man.
The reporter and it says I didn't pay my taxes because it was a play on the Afro Man song. We was playing around, it was jokes.
While it's true that Method Man is doing good in terms of his career on television, as a host of the Drop the Mic on TBS/TNT, he's had a lot of financial issues over the course of his career that has costed him dearly. And like many people in the rap industry, he's found himself in trouble with the IRS, to the extent that he actually faced 4 years in prison for tax evasion, which is something you should never risk dealing with. Granted, he didn't have to pay as much as many others on this list, as you're about to see. However, he did have to plead guilty to charges to get out of his funk. And you know, he ain't making as much as you might think because he doesn't exactly produce a lot of music anymore. Number 9, Bow Wow.
Right. Just keep it light.
One of the biggest crimes in the world of celebrities is trying to think you're so big that you can just spend your money and you'll get it back because you're so popular. And really, that's not how it works. So many rappers have gone broke because of that, such as Bow Wow. At the age of 13, Bow Wow launched his first single album, and then he would go on to release a bunch of subsequent albums that would go on to make him a lot of fame, a lot of notoriety, and yes, a lot of money. And this in turn would lead to several chances to do things outside of music, including acting. But in 2012, Bow Wow made a shocking revelation. He was broke. Well, that's what he told people anyway. It's a bit complicated. Specifically, he was asked to pay child support, and he claimed that he only had $1,500 in his bank account, and that he was only making $4,000 a month via his records and other music ventures, which, for the record, would allow him to pay the child support. But then he signed a deal with BET to make him a host of one of their shows, and then he was smart enough to make this statement. One thing about me, I'm a smart guy, very smart. Things that I do are for reasons. Things that I don't are for reasons. So for myself, I'm comfortable, very comfortable. For me, it's all about the work. As far as rumors, those are people's opinions. Until you see me on the corner with a cardboard box saying I'll tap dance for food or canned goods, then you can say that I'm broke. This is the very definition of a punk move. Like seriously, you're trying to get out of child support, so you lie about the money you're making, and then this happens? Yeah. That being said, there's no doubt that he's poor now because he's not killing it in the music industry nowadays. Number 8, DMX.
It's just people getting on your nerves, man. It's like, damn, you know, when I was broke, I was happier because at least I knew who was around me, you know what I'm saying?
What's worse than being broke? How about being broke because of your own stupidity and then going to jail for it and then still not learning your lesson? Yeah, this is the story of DMX. DMX was a rapper who had it well and truly. He had fame, hit songs, albums, and even movie appearances, like The Good Kind. He was actually doing really well for himself until his own ego got in the way of things. And after his debut in 1998 with the album that did really well in the charts, DMX fought hard to keep himself relevant in the eyes of the rap community. Then his most popular album came out, and then there was X. In 2000 and 2001, he won a Grammy for the Best Hip-Hop/Rap Artist. Then he starred in a series of movies that got some buzz, including Cradle 2, The Grave, and Romeo Must Die, which also had Jet Li in it. Sadly though, he couldn't get out his own way. And what might have been the ultimate case of foreshadowing and irony, he got in trouble because of substance abuse, which is not so ironic because he sang about them all the time. He used his money to get everything he wanted and forgot to pay for everything else. He tried starting a clothing line, but that went under and he owed a couple $100,000 for that. He then owed money on cars and went to jail multiple times for failing to pay child support, over $1 million of it. But his biggest fault was him deciding that he was above paying taxes. Seriously, what is so hard for rappers to just submit their taxes? I don't understand. They have the money to pay, so I'm gonna do it. It's not that hard. Well, besides that, in fact, he didn't pay his taxes for 5 years. I mean, do I really need to say how bad that is? DMX was taken to court over this on multiple counts of tax fraud. He would then plead guilty to 1 count of tax fraud. And he's currently in jail right now, and when he's out in a few months, he'll have a couple years of supervision and is ordered to pay back $2 million to the government, among other payments that he owes. So not only is he poor, but it's going to be a long time before he gets over that. Number 2, Lil Kim.
They're going on to say that she has about $2.5 million in liabilities and she owes about $4 million.
Lil Kim was at one time the leading lady of rap, as well as one of the most influential rappers ever. What's more, she was a hit singer in terms of sales, as she sold over 15 million albums over her career and also had 30 million singles sold. And as if that wasn't enough, she was also the one who pushed the envelope on fashion and inspired many other rappers in terms of their own looks. But despite all of that success, she had her own set of failures that led her to being poor. And one of the biggest ones was that her former record label sued her for over $2.3 million. And if that wasn't enough, she also owed the government $1 million back in taxes, which, as I've noted, is something you never want to find yourself into. She even went to jail for some of these crimes. And though she's out now, she's not exactly in the best of positions. And of course, she's trying to make a comeback, but it's not easy. There are many other ladies tearing up the rap world, and Lil Kim has been out of the game for quite a while. So until she strikes back hard, she'll have a hard time making it as she did. Number 6, Kanye West. This one's another case of us knowing that they aren't poor, but their actions are pointing them towards not having the best sense of how to control their finances. You see, Kanye West got rich via his work both in front and behind the microphone, and his success and infamy allowed him to do a wide variety of things. And one of those things was fulfilling his dream of becoming a fashion designer, and he went and poured a lot of money into it. For those who know Kanye and his dabbing into the fashion world, it really hasn't been easy.
Because you trying to give me advice about something. You ain't got the answer. You ain't spent $13 million of your own money trying to empower yourself.
Yep. His first couple lines of clothing weren't exactly at the snuff, and while he did bounce back with some big shoe lines and other things, he eventually found himself in a tough spot. He even went to Mark freaking Zuckerberg to ask him to donate money to his cause. Think about that. He had to go to someone else richer than him to ask for help. That's not a good sign in regards to finances. Again, we still know he's rich, and his wife is Kim Kardashian, who can help with various other financial burdens should the need arise. But when it came to his fashion exploits, it took him a long time to make do with what he had and start earning a profit. Number 5, Lauryn Hill.
Federal prison for tax evasion, even though she claims she paid off her nearly $1 million bill to Uncle Sam before sentencing.
Lauryn Hill is one of the many cautionary tales that the rap world has to offer for the next generation, should they choose to listen, that is. She started her career as part of the group called the Fugees, which is where she started to get a lot of fame, and then, like many groups, she decided to go and have a solo career, in which case proved to be very fruitful for her. Her first and only studio album was called The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and it was a bona fide hit no matter which way you look at it. The album broke numerous record sales and earned her a score of Grammys and other awards. And of course, it got her a lot of money. But shortly after this, Hill seemed to have suffered a mental break. She condemned the music for various things and couldn't take the pressure off of being in the limelight. She did try and come back, but it didn't go so well because of what happened before. As for money issues, she fell victim to one of the most stupid moves a person can make. She failed to pay her taxes. She would eventually plead guilty to tax evasion and would then spend 3 months in prison for this crime. Though she has bounced back in some ways, Lauryn Hill paid heavily for her issues, and she's nowhere near the popularity she had during her first album. Number 4, Lil Wayne.
There's people like Jay-Z. You know what I mean? He helped me when I was really down.
I'll be honest here, while Lil Wayne may not be poor, he most certainly should be poor, and in the worst way possible. Because without a doubt, Lil Wayne is one of the biggest idiots around because of how much he tries to screw with the IRS, only for him to lose every single time. How bad is his history with the IRS? Well, in the course of about 8 years, he's managed to tick them off so much that he's lost a total of $33 million to them back in taxes. That's right, he's forgotten to file his taxes so much that he had to pay them $33 million in order to get them off his back. Can you imagine what you would do with $33 million? Forget that for a second. Do you know how many people would be living better lives if they could divide up those $33 million? Exactly. And this rapper lost that much because he didn't pay his taxes correctly in multiple years. And how does that happen? Yeah, by his own admission, Lil Wayne actually needed help from Jay-Z in order to get through this. Now sure, he didn't say whether it was moral support or actual finances that he needed from Jay-Z, but the measure of the man was there for all to see. Now again, I'm sure he's still there with a load of money, but if he keeps on messing with the IRS, that'll change quickly. Number 3, Trick Daddy. Seriously, at this point I have to wonder how many rappers have tried to avoid paying taxes. I mean, do they seriously think they'll ever be able to beat the IRS in a match? They won't. And Trick Daddy's yet another rapper who is on the low on finances because he decided to mess with the tax people. Trick Daddy impressed many people with his music and released multiple albums that would become hits along with singles that would go and become hits on the charts. He had the money to pay the taxes, $157,000 back in taxes all told, but he didn't just want to pay them. That's the problem. Though this wasn't his only one, Trick Daddy was also convicted of several other crimes, which definitely put a dent in his bank account, and by 2010 came around, Trick Daddy's big house that he had in Miami was foreclosed. Now allegedly, Trick Daddy is trying to make a comeback via a sequel of one of his albums, but until that gets made, and there's no guarantee that it'll ever be a hit, he's going to be broke, and broke for some time. Number 2, Young Buck. You know you've fallen hard when you find yourself in a position that is literally the definition of public shaming. Young Buck was part of 50 Cent's group back in the early 2000s, and his music made him a hit in the genre, as well as rich. But once again, the IRS came calling, and Young Buck wouldn't like what happened when he answered that call. Mainly because they didn't call. They just busted in the door at his Tennessee home in order to collect what was theirs. And when Young Buck didn't have it, he was then forced to do a public auction of his items in order to pay back what he owed them. And that's something no one should ever go through, but he did. Now he claims to have bought all those items back, but whether he did or not is up in the air. But it doesn't really matter, because his other issues have kept him under the eyes of the law, including him going to jail for possession charges. So his money issues and life issues are something that isn't going to end more than likely. Number 1. Xzibit. If you recall the show Pimp My Ride, you know exactly who Xzibit is. And you'll soon understand how fame is very fickle, and how money runs out when you don't have it at times. Xzibit is one of the rappers who made the most of his fame by branching out and doing new things. In the 90s, he had multiple hit albums, and even got the attention of big name rappers like Dr. Dre, which put him over the top in terms of fame. And then he went to televisions and movies and made a bunch of appearances, including the legendary and infamous show Pimp My Ride, which he had been riding high for some time. And then when the show got canceled, that's when things started to go really wrong for him. You see, that was his main source of income, and he didn't spend that income wisely. So when the show got canceled, his income plummeted, and he needed to pay off a lot of debts. And so to try and stem the tide, he went and filed for bankruptcy, but it didn't take, and in 2010, he was charged for tax evasion, owing the government $900,000 back in taxes. Now he has bounced back since that point, including continuing his acting via Empire for a few seasons, and he's apparently going to release an album this year, but he's hardly as rich as he once was, and his fame isn't going to bounce back from the heights that he once had. Live and learn, everyone. That's pretty much the video. Thank you for watching. So what did you think of these rappers who went broke after getting so much money? And also, can you believe some of the names on this list? Let me know which one you're the most shocked about in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on King Trending. A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.